One logo, one byte, $3 trillion in market value. This is the story of the Apple logo. It went from a detailed 19th century illustration to the cleanest icon in tech history. And the story behind that byte is not what you think. Before there was even a logo, there had to be a name. In 1976, Steve Wozniak was driving Steve Jobs back from a visit to a commune in Oregon, an actual apple orchard. Jobs casually suggested the name Apple Computer. Wozniak immediately worried about copyright issues with the Beatles' record label, Apple Records. They brainstormed aggressive, technical-sounding alternatives like Executech and Matrix Electronics. But nothing captured the friendly, approachable vibe Jobs wanted. Apple stuck, but Apple's first logo was anything but simple. Designed by Steve Jobs and Ronald Wayne, it was a hyper-detailed pen-and-ink illustration of Isaac Newton sitting under an apple tree, complete with a quotation from Wordsworth. It was classical, it was sophisticated, and it was a complete disaster for a fast-moving tech company. The problem was simple geometry. You couldn't shrink this crest onto a computer chassis. The details turned to mud. It looked like a 19th century bookplate, not a logo for the future of computing. Steve Jobs knew it had to change, and fast. In early 1977, Jobs turned to Regis McKenna Advertising and assigned a young art director named Rob Janoff. The brief was brutally simple. Don't make it cute. Janoff didn't rely on market research or focus groups. He spent a week buying real apples, putting them in a bowl, and endlessly sketching their silhouettes to simplify the shape. To ensure people immediately recognized it as an apple and not a cherry or a tomato, he took a bite out of it. That bite served a practical design function, but it also unlocked a legendary linguistic accident. Shortly after finishing the design, Janoff's creative director pointed out that he had just designed a byte, as in digital computer data. A joke hidden in plain sight that most people still miss today. But what about those famous rainbow stripes? They were not just a nod to 70s aesthetics or counterculture. In 1977, the Apple II was one of the very first personal computers capable of displaying graphics in color. While massive competitors like IBM hid behind cold, boring, monochromatic corporate monoliths, Apple's vibrant stripes shouted to the world, "We are different, we are creative, and we are not a beige box." This rebellious spirit was everywhere, even in their pricing. Apple's earliest prototypes famously sold for $666.66. While conspiracy theorists claimed it was the mark of the beast, the truth was much nerdier. Wozniak simply liked repeating digits, and a number was a standard markup over their $250 cost. The devil wasn't in the details, just the math. For 21 years, that rainbow logo ruled. It appeared on every Macintosh, every floppy disk, and every manual. But corporate fortunes shift. In 1985, Jobs was ousted from his own company. Over the next decade, Apple struggled, losing market share and identity. When Jobs finally returned in 1997 after Apple acquired his company Next, Apple was weeks away from bankruptcy. Jobs streamlined the product line and launched the iMac, translucent, colorful, and revolutionary. But that playful rainbow logo suddenly looked dated. It didn't fit the new era. So, Apple made a brutal decision. They killed the rainbow. The logo transitioned to solid black, sometimes silver, sometimes mirror-polished white. The new icon matched the new Apple, sleek, industrial, serious, and virtually unchanged since. Why has this specific shape endured for nearly half a century? Look closely at the geometry. The curves naturally follow the golden ratio, creating mathematical proportions that are inherently harmonious to the human eye. The symbolism runs even deeper. The bitten apple mirrors the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, temptation and discovery packaged in a sleek aluminum body. Many even believed it was an homage to Alan Turing, the father of modern computing who tragically died after biting a poisoned apple. Though Jobs later admitted the Turing connection was just a beautiful coincidence, the design's brilliance lies exactly there. It is so radically simple that it can carry infinite meaning. Here is the most impressive part of the entire legacy. One basic shape, spanning nearly 50 years. No trendy redesigns. No changing fonts or massive corporate rebranding campaigns. While every other tech giant has morphed and chased shifting trends, Apple has done practically nothing to its icon. And it works because the best logo is not the one that changes with the times. It is the one that outlasts them. Want to know more about the logos you see every day? Discover over 17,000 logos and hundreds of deep dive history articles on logo-index.com. The link is in the description. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.